say start with what you know, and that's where you grow, right? So in the beginning of doing Badass CEO Babe, I was just really teaching women simple concepts on, how to grow a business, how to even start a business. So I had a lot of startups, right? And
Yeah.
people who were really struggling with confidence, getting out of their comfort zones, just really getting comfortable with the idea of being an entrepreneur and getting in the mindset of being an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
right? I would say about 10 months ago, that's a lot of what I was dealing with. Now I'm dealing with women who are already making like 5, 6, 7, 10 grand a month. I want to do more and easily, right?
Nice.
So now they're realizing, okay, like I've got a good setup, I've got a good foundation, but how do I, like, it's very blurry. The lines are very blurry because there's so many avenues that you could go down, right?
Hmm.
There are so many avenues that you could go down, and when you're unsure, you could just start like taking in all this information. You get in that overwhelm kind of overload place, right?
Hmm.
So it's those are the women that come to me now that are just unsure of the next steps but are ready to take them, right? So I'm really working with like action takers and doers right
Hmm.
now that are ready to just do the work, roll up their sleeves
Hmm.
and get to doing the work, and who are ready to automate things, that are ready to do a little bit more work now, create courses, create group programs, stuff like that. So
And where are they in their lives, right? Most of them are they like after a couple of children, or after one child, or are most of your clients doing it before they have children?
it's funny, I have all of them.
Which is
I have
good.
I have
That's amazing.
yeah,
Yes.
I have clients who have children. I have clients who have small children. I have clients who
They're the ones who seem most motivated. I thought. Yeah.
absolutely, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's now you're getting into the era where childcare is so expensive, right? They're spending their first couple months at home with their kid, and the thought of going back to the 9 to 5 that they were just so miserable in just isn't worth it, right? So
Hmm.
you start calculating, okay, well, if I was going to put my child in childcare for the day and still go to work, I'm only making X amount of dollars. So really, my business only needs to start by making this amount of dollars for me
Hmm.
to stay home with my kid, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's just we live in the most amazing times to be
Abs-
able to create anything that we want to.
Yeah.
If we're being called to it, it's we're being called to it for a reason, right? So I have a lot of older, not I wouldn't say older women, but women who are more settled in their lives with children, and then I have young entrepreneurs who are just like go-getters. Like
Hmm.
they are just,
They have the energy for it.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Just ready to rock, right?
yeah, they inspire me, man.
Yeah.
Like they inspire me. So
So,
yeah.
what are some of those ideas from like the young entrepreneurs, or if you can talk about some of them, if you could. If you
Um,
can't, don't worry about it. Like, if we can get on to the next question.
Yeah, I never asked any of them. It'd be cool if I could talk about them. Let me just tell you one thing. There's a
Hmm.
couple things, right, for these young entrepreneurs is that they've got a fire within them, right? And they're very moldable in the sense where, they see something happening, they want to run with it. And
Hmm.
I don't mean moldable in a negative way. I
Hmm.
just mean like they don't have a lot of learned behaviors at this point in
Right.
time, right?
Right.
And so they're like sponges almost, right? And they get technology a lot easier than kind of the older generations do,
Hmm.
right? They love being on their phone, they love being on apps, they love doing that. So showing up on social media and really putting themselves out there once we clear the blocks is like a no-brainer for them, right?
Hmm.
But it's just about finding their voice. What I love is that the younger generations are really inspiring the younger generations to just be, better people.
Right. We're not talking about millennials here. Are we talking a little bit younger than
Yeah,
millennials?
I
Like
like we're
the
talking
pre
yeah,
millennials?
we're
Yeah. No.
talking about millennials, but they have younger generations that are looking up to them, right?
Right.
So showing them
Absolutely.
a different way of life, like just how we don't need to be so consumed with some of the things that we think that we need to be consumed about, right? And really
Hmm.
bringing them back to, I talk about our truth in our home all the time, but that's the reality of it, right? There's
Right.
just so much wisdom that lives within us. So it's really cool to see them rolling out stuff like that and just empowering people in that way.
What is your advice to some of your clients in regards to social media? Obviously, you've mentioned that, word of mouth is probably the biggest form of advertising you can have, not necessarily online tools to become successful. So, do you shed advice to some of your clients that it is necessary, but it's not the amount of time you need to actually be on social media.
Yeah, I think it's quality over quantity sometimes. It all depends on what you're trying to achieve, right? Social media is the biggest tool that we have right now. It's the freest tool that we have right now. It's the easiest way to start up a business, right? Do you have to be on there 24/7? Absolutely not. I take weekends off. I take time, sometimes evenings off. That's how I choose to do my business. Other people might be different, right?
Right.
But it's you got to take it to your advantage. And I think one of the biggest things that people struggle with when they're first starting out is the thought of, what are people going to think of me, right? Like, what are my friends and family going to think of me? Are they going to be annoying? Are they going to be this? Are they going to be that? And I just say, like, listen, are those people paying your bills? Right? At the end of the day,
Yeah.
are those people going to be the ones that are paying your bills? Are those people going to be the ones that are investing in you, right? And if the answer is no, then it's a non-issue anymore, basically,
Right.
in my reality. It's a non-issue. Did I worry about those things when I first started out? Yeah, absolutely. Do I worry about, some of the stuff that I say that grandparents might see? Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, they're not the ones that are paying my bills,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's one of the biggest tools you have in your tool belt right now. And you have the opportunity to be everywhere. Is word of mouth great? Yeah, absolutely. But word of mouth isn't going to do anything if they have nowhere to send them to, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is, because there is so many opportunities out there today, right? It's whoever's in the forefront of your mind that people are going to, when they're ready to make a move, when they're ready to make a decision, when they're ready to invest in something, they're going to invest in that person that's in the forefront of their mind. So
Absolutely.
why wouldn't you want to be that person, right?
Yeah.